The early 15th century found France teetering on the precipice of disaster. The nation, once a beacon of medieval power and culture, was now a land of turmoil and despair. Welcome to Cryptic Mystic Vault, where we explore the enigmatic tales and unsolved puzzles of history. The once mighty kingdom was a shadow of its former self, ravaged by decades of relentless warfare and torn asunder by internal strife. The countryside lay in ruins, and the people were weary from the constant state of conflict. The 100 Years' War, a brutal conflict with England that had ignited in 1337, had drained the nation's coffers and sapped its morale. The war had seen countless battles, each more devastating than the last, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Vast swaths of French territory lay under English dominion, and the very legitimacy of the French crown was under constant challenge. The English had not only taken land but also the spirit of the French people, who now questioned their future. Yet the external threat posed by England was but one facet of France's woes. The kingdom was also plagued by internal divisions that threatened to tear it apart from within. Internal divisions festering for years now threatened to shatter the kingdom entirely. The French nobility, driven by personal ambition and regional rivalries, engaged in a dangerous game of power politics. The French nobility, driven by personal ambition and regional rivalries, engaged in a dangerous game of power politics, their internecine struggles further weakening the realm. These power struggles were not just political but also deeply personal, with old grudges and new ambitions fueling the fire. Two factions, the Armagnacs and the Burgundians, emerged as the primary contenders for power, their bitter rivalry pushing France ever closer to the abyss. Their conflict was not merely a political struggle, but a battle for the very soul of the nation. The Armagnacs, named after their leader Bernard VII, Count of Armagnac, drew their support primarily from the south of France. They were seen as the defenders of the traditional monarchy, though their methods were often ruthless. They championed the cause of the Dauphin, the young and inexperienced heir to the French throne, and sought to maintain the authority of the monarchy, albeit with themselves as the power behind the throne. Their influence over the Dauphin was both a strength and a weakness, as it made them targets for their enemies. The Burgundians, led by the ambitious and ruthless John the Fearless, Duke of Burgundy, commanded the allegiance of the wealthy and populous regions of the north. John was a master of manipulation, using his resources to sway the balance of power in his favor. John, harboring his own aspirations for power, exploited the chaos to advance his own interests, often at the expense of national unity. His actions were calculated, always aimed at increasing his influence and control. As the conflict between these factions escalated from simmering resentment to open warfare, the very fabric of French society began to unravel. The violence and instability affected all levels of society, from the nobility to the common folk. The once unthinkable, a French prince besieging the nation's capital, became a terrifying reality, marking a new low in the kingdom's descent into chaos. The siege of Paris was a symbol of the kingdom's fractured state, a city under siege by its own supposed protectors. This was the backdrop against which the fate of Paris, and indeed of France itself, would be decided. The outcome of these conflicts would shape the future of the nation, determining whether it would emerge from the darkness or be consumed by it. The struggle between John the Fearless and the Armagnac faction was not merely a contest for land or titles. It was a clash of personalities and ambitions, fueled by deep-seated animosity and a thirst for power. This conflict was emblematic of the broader turmoil that gripped medieval France, a nation torn apart by internal divisions and external threats. John, a cunning and ruthless political operator, understood the importance of perception and propaganda. He was a master of manipulating public opinion, using every tool at his disposal to craft an image of strength and stability. He skillfully portrayed himself as a defender of the people, a champion of order in a realm consumed by chaos. His speeches and public appearances were carefully orchestrated to reinforce this narrative, winning him the support of many who longed for peace and stability. His control over Paris, the heart of France, would lend credence to this image and provide a powerful symbol of his authority. Paris was not just a city, it was the epicenter of French political and cultural life, and controlling it meant wielding immense influence. The Armagnacs, for their part, were determined to thwart John's ambitions and maintain their grip on power. They were equally adept at political maneuvering and understood the stakes of this high-stakes game. They understood that losing Paris would be a devastating blow to their prestige and legitimacy. The city was a prize that neither side could afford to lose, and its fate would determine the balance of power in France. The Dauphin, a figurehead more than a true leader, remained under their control, his fate inextricably tied to their own. His position was precarious and his influence was largely symbolic, yet he was a crucial pawn in their political chess game. The struggle for Paris was thus as much about the survival of the Armagnac faction as it was about the control of a city. It was a battle for the soul of France, with each side vying to impose its vision on the nation. This rivalry, born of personal ambition and political expediency, had disastrous consequences for France. The constant infighting weakened the country, making it vulnerable to external threats and internal decay. Both sides, blinded by their own self-interest, failed to grasp the greater threat posed by England. Their inability to unite in the face of a common enemy would have far-reaching implications. Their internecine squabbles provided a golden opportunity for the English king, Henry V, to exploit French weakness and advance his own claims on the French throne. Henry was a shrewd and ambitious leader, ready to capitalize on the chaos in France. The siege of Paris, therefore, must be understood not only in the context of the Armagnac-Burgundian Civil War, but also within the larger narrative of the 100 Years' War. It was a pivotal moment that highlighted the interconnectedness of internal and external conflicts, shaping the future of France. Paris, in the early 15th century, was more than just the capital of France. It was the nation's cultural, economic, and spiritual heart. The city was a bustling hub of activity, with its streets filled with merchants, scholars, and clergy, all contributing to its vibrant atmosphere. Its imposing walls enclosed not only a city, but also a symbol of French identity and royal authority. These fortifications were a testament to the city's importance and the need to protect it from external threats. Control of Paris conferred legitimacy, prestige, and perhaps most importantly, access to the vast wealth of the Île-de-France region. This wealth was not just in terms of money, but also in resources, manpower, and influence. For John the Fearless, capturing Paris was paramount to achieving his ambitions. He saw the city as the key to consolidating his power and expanding his influence across France. Possession of the city would grant him leverage over the Dauphin and the Armagnacs, bolstering his claim as the true protector of France. It would also allow him to dictate terms and potentially bring an end to the ongoing conflict. Furthermore, holding Paris would provide him with a strategic advantage in the ongoing conflict, allowing him to control vital trade routes and tax revenues. These resources were crucial for funding his military campaigns and maintaining his power base. The Armagnacs, acutely aware of the stakes, were equally determined to hold on to the capital. They understood that losing Paris would mean losing their grip on power and their ability to influence the future of France. Paris, under their control, represented the last bastion of royal authority and a symbol of resistance against Burgundian encroachment. The city's defenses and its loyal inhabitants were their last hope in the struggle for dominance. Losing the city would be a catastrophic blow, weakening their position immeasurably and potentially paving the way for a Burgundian takeover of the entire kingdom. The fall of Paris would signal the end of their resistance and the beginning of a new era of Burgundian rule. The fate of Paris, therefore, held immense significance for both factions. It was not just a city but a symbol of power, legitimacy, and the future direction of the nation. It was a prize worth fighting for, a city whose destiny would shape the course of the Armagnac-Burgundian Civil War and have profound implications for the future of France. The struggle for Paris was a microcosm of the larger battle for the soul of the nation. Imagine a world where Burgundy triumphed over the crown. Paris, under Burgundian rule, would have seen a profound shift in cultural and political dynamics. The Renaissance, as we know it, might have taken a different path, with Burgundian influence permeating art and science. The grand cathedrals and bustling marketplaces of Paris would echo with the distinct tones of Burgundian culture, altering the very essence of French identity. This alternate history would ripple through time, affecting not just France but the entire European continent. The power balance in Europe would shift dramatically, possibly delaying the rise of France as a dominant power. Burgundy's ascendancy would forge new alliances and rivalries, casting long shadows over the political landscape. Wars fought for centuries might have taken different courses, their outcomes reshaping borders and destinies. The tapestry of European society, woven with Burgundian threads, would present a rich yet unfamiliar pattern. Innovations in art, literature and science would bear the mark of Burgundian vision, perhaps leading to a renaissance that celebrated different ideals. The very fabric of European society would be altered, with Burgundy's triumph echoing through the ages. A world where the Armagnac-Burgundian civil war ended in Burgundian victory would be a world transformed, its history rewritten, its future reimagined. This alternate path serves as a testament to the immense significance of Paris and the high stakes of its control. As we ponder this what-if, we are reminded of how the battles of the past shaped the world we live in today. The struggle for Paris was not merely a contest for a city, but a battle for the soul of a nation, a battle that could have set the stage for an entirely different European narrative. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe for more explorations into the symbols that shape our world.